Hello and welcome to Misty Island. This is a little Christmas special that I have put together. It's gonna be a sort of Christmas calendar kind of thing in 25 parts that I'm gonna release one by one, day by day, up until Christmas, the 25th, starting with the first, this episode. So this is the episode where I'm gonna introduce you to this little island, the mystery, and our main characters. So without further ado, let's drop into the story. And here he is, our hero, looking very tired and anxious and just sick of everything. And yeah, as you can see, he's not feeling very well. He is in dire need of some stuff here, and he's been through quite a lot. This is Crudius Lone Blight, and this is our main character in the story. He is, as you might have guessed, a wizard. He is, or a warlock rather. He's a neutral warlock, right now at least. Let's see what happens. And he is actually freshly an adult, but he already has some worry lines and things on his face. So one could say that he's been through a lot. He is a knowledge sim and he has some skills. He's mostly skilled in logic and he has quite a high magic skill as well. And he only knows one person, and that is Wulfric Nickelorb, who is his previous master. Well, how did he end up here then, on this Misty Island? Well, I actually did write down a biography for him. This is his personality, by the way. He is a Scorpio, very neat and active and fairly outgoing, but he's also very serious and extremely grouchy. So he's just over everything and doesn't care anymore. So I tried to write him a biography, but it was too long. I found out that the character limit here is 181 characters, and I wrote like 350 or something like that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and read that to you from my notes instead. Crudius never had much. His mother hadn't planned on having children and thus raised him both reluctantly and with much disdain. Upon his 10th birthday, she walked out never to return, and Crudius took to the streets. This quickly put him on a bad path, and it didn't take long for trouble to find him. Running for his life, he happened upon a warlock's workroom and hid behind one of the well-stocked shelves. As the brutes came running in, they hit the shelf, and one of the elixirs fell down and hit Crudius right on the head, knocking him out. Once he woke up, he was met by the warlock Wulfric Nickelorb, who had come to his rescue. He told Crudius that he'd been hit by a potent batch of bottled witch's brew, which had transformed him into a warlock. Wulfric offered to make a quick batch of which began E, but Crudius declined. To him, becoming something more than a powerless boy was like a dream come true, and, taking pity on him, Wulfric agreed to make him his apprentice. The years passed as the two worked together. Crudius turned out to be very talented, and as his powers grew, vicious jealousy started to take root in Wulfric's heart. It eventually came to Crudius' attention that there were some nasty rumors going around about him, calling him an evil warlock. Everywhere he went, people fled from him, not giving him a chance to explain. He started to despise humans, who appeared to only be rejecting him, and stayed ever closer to Wulfric, who seemed to be his only friend. That made the sting of his betrayal all the more hurtful. When Crudius finally found out that his own master was the one who had ruined his character, he reacted explosively and viciously attacked. Eventually, his old master lay at his feet, barely alive, and Crudius realized that in such an act of evil, he had just become exactly that which he had tried to deny, an evil warlock. Panicked, he drew all his power into himself in an attempt to make himself disappear. This, of course, could not be done, so instead his own magic turned against him and attacked. In a burst of power, he was sprung into the air and thrown off course to a place completely unknown. And that unknown place is, of course, Misty Island. So that is also why his reputation is down to the very depths. He's a sleazy slime ball. Everyone who meets him is going to have a negative first impression. So that's something that he's going to have to battle with. And he dropped down here, well, rather his magic dropped him down here in the middle of a forest, creating this great crater in the earth as he landed. And he notices, of course, at once that something is strange with this location. There's mist everywhere, and he is not in control of his powers right now. Of course, his magic has turned against him and attacked him, and he's not able to use magic at the moment. One could say that he's magically exhausted, perhaps. But even though he does not have access to his magic right now, he can understand and sense that this is not natural fog. This is some sort of mystical powers that has created this completely impenetrable wall of fog, basically. So everywhere he looks and turns here, there's just mist. He can see that there's some houses here in the distance, some places for him to go and seek help, perhaps. But as we have just learned about his backstory, he's not particularly interested in people, so he would actually prefer to try to find the edge of this island and try to find a way off it. So he sees also that there's water over there, some sort of shoreline. So he's actually going to go ahead and walk towards the water and try to find his way out. So Crudius is arriving here at the ocean edge, and standing here at the edge, you can see that the fog is still everywhere. There's no way that he's going to be able to get out of this. This is all just completely blocking him, he is assuming. Of course, he's going to have to try it out when his powers are back properly, but right now he can sense that something about this is not right, and he's going to have to figure something out in order to get off this island and get back to wherever he came from. And one issue that he's got is that he doesn't have any supplies. He also doesn't have his magic tome or his cauldron. He doesn't have anything. He was literally just dropped here without anything except some like base supplies that he happened to have on him. And this is a finite amount. He's only going to be able to do a handful of spells with this. So he's not going to get very far unless he finds some way to actually stock up and do real magic. So he's taken a look here at what he can see. He also notices that over here, there's something sitting here among the rocks, looking out at the water. 2 gravestones. And he's still thinking about his fight that he lost, by the way, with his master, Wulfric. He's still very angry about it. So here we can see that we have 2 gravestones. We have Anora Crestgloom and we have Richard Crestgloom. And if we take a look here at this, we can read about. Here lies Anora Crestgloom, loving mother and talented author. She dreamed of one day being published. I guess that will never happen. And here lies Richard Crestgloom, doting father and everybody's friend, Well, unless you asked Agrith. So it was 2 parents, apparently, and someone who was very well liked, and apart from one enemy, apparently. They are both lying here, alone, looking out at the water. Well, Crudius takes that information in, but he can't really do anything about that. He needs to find somewhere to rest, somewhere to find shelter, basically. And he did see a few houses off in the distance, so he's actually gonna go ahead and walk back. If he had had his powers, or if he had had a broomstick, he would have been able to either teleport or fly. But of course, he doesn't have any of that either, so he's gonna have to keep walking, actually. So he's gonna have to trek all the way back and find his way to one of those houses. So Crudius has found his way here to a house, one of the seemingly abandoned buildings. He has seen so far no sign of life, but of course he's gonna have to keep looking. Things look fairly well tended. I mean, it could be worse. There's some stuff here, old newspapers and some damaged stuff lying here, but other than that, things look fairly nice here. So he's gonna go inside of the house and see if he can find somewhere to freshen up. Right, so here's a little entryway where he arrives immediately, and there's a small bathroom here to the side, so he's gonna start by just freshening up. If he would have had his magic, of course he would have been able to cast a spell and have his hygiene back, but no, that's not gonna happen. Something else to take note of is also that at this house here, there's still the fog, but it's not nearly as thick as it is along the edges. So whatever has caused this, it's causing the surrounding area of the island to be completely covered in fog, but towards the inside of the island, it's not as heavy. So whatever has been done, it has been aimed sort of at the outskirts of the island. And he's exhausted. Right, so he's freshened up, and even though it's the middle of the day, he's still gonna try to find somewhere to take a nap at least. So, knowing layouts of houses, he's gonna assume it's on the upstairs, the second floor here. So he's just gonna go up here. Now trying the first door here to the right. Just happens upon a cute little room with a single bed and a little desk and some bookshelves here, and he feels like this is a good place to lay down, so he's gonna go ahead and go to sleep. And Crudius falls asleep very quickly. He's exhausted, of course, and he really needs his rest. There's a lot of things that happened today, and he's finally found a roof over his head, somewhere to be safe. So he rests and waits with all of the adventures for when he wakes up. And that's the end of this first initial episode. So check in tomorrow for part 2 of this series. Take care. Bye.